was just going to mention that Faust, because of your skin pallor and tone, you might not want to wear red because
I really want to draw attention to my roguish, to my.
That's cool, but they have to pull red out of all of the coloring.
So I make more work for you.
So you got a memo that's like, don't wear red.
Fuck, man, it's too late for me.
Yeah. You got anything else that isn't red? Sorry about this, Alex.
It's okay, God. It's okay.
Not really, motherfucker.
Dude, I'm
gonna go put fucking blue on or something. How are we gonna fucking match the continuity?
Hey, this is God. This is God.
God, you made red. Come on, dude. I really got to change shirts.
Dude, you're just so red. Your pallor is so red.
That's because I'm part Native American. All right.
That's cool. I think you're just a tan Irishman, to be honest. But,
wow.
You know, okay, Elizabeth Warren. 100th Apache.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude. I was trying to get on earlier. I really apologize. Come on, just throw on anything. You can throw on another wife beater if you want, just not red.
I'll look for one, man. You talk to Alex.
All right, I'll talk to. We'll get to know each other.
Yeah.
Alex, talk to God. I'll be right back.
Yes. God, I have so many questions.
All right, what's your first one?
What the fuck are we doing here?
See, now you look like Bruce Willis at the end of Die Hard 2 after his shirt turns black.
He's all bloody and beat up at the end of the movie.
Yeah, well, I'm just talking about the shirt.
Okay. Alex, now that we solved our wardrobe problem, tell everyone who's listening a little more about your background and you know where you were. I love your origin story, man. Like where you were working and then where you ended up, you know, and kind of how you knew that moment when you knew that you had arrived into your new life.
Oh, I like how you put it. So I grew up in Romania, an ex-communist country, and yeah, a lot of our beliefs and the people in Romania are a bit tense still about this, you know, and we like to worry about what's going on, and I've seen this around me. This is how I was educated. This is how our friends, my friends were, and also I had a lot of like limitations that I put for myself because I was thinking only the chosen few can get to a life like they desire. And I was seeing movies and I was thinking, yeah, but they're from US. That's where you make the money. And I was thinking, yeah, in Romania here, you don't have a lot of opportunities. I was looking around actually, and I was seeing the pimps in my neighborhood having the nice cars. I was thinking, I don't want to do that. I was seeing the corrupt politicians. They had also a lot of wealth, and they were like making it visible. And I was thinking, also I don't want to do that. So I accepted that I need to go to a job and be faithful, and maybe at some point I will be a manager, in 5 years, in 10 years, a super manager, and so on. So I was working for HP, Hewlett Packard, in Bucharest, going about an hour and a half to work and about 2 hours back in the evening.
Wow, that's a commute.
Yeah. And we were playing, I was playing poker with my friends on every Thursday. I was going to the club on Saturday. It was like a repetitive thing. I was very grateful for my life. Like I was making more money than some of my friends. And I was going on 3 vacations per year, not 2 vacations per year.
Right.
And yeah, I thought I had it good, you know? And at the same time, I was feeling this emptiness inside, like this void, like this, there must be more to life than this. And it was New Year's Eve, and I had like this thought that I want to expand the circle of my friends, because I was hanging out with the people I knew from high school, and with my coworkers. That's it. And I was thinking, maybe talk with other people. So yeah, I made it my mission for the next year. And so I started going to all these meetups, events, yeah, about entrepreneurship, marketing, about personal development, spirituality even. So it was then when the wheels started to move more and more. I also read the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Also had a big impact on me and the way I was thinking. I read a few other books like The Science of Getting Rich. Yes, and also Eckhart Tolle with The Power of Now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I started organizing some parties.
What kind of parties?
So they were theme parties, and they were very like the way we liked parties were in like somebody's apartment. You would bring 2 speakers and blow the place up.
Cool.
And I was thinking, how cool were those parties like way back, like 10 years, 15 years ago. And I was talking with a colleague, and he said, you know what? My brother is a DJ. I think if we organize a party like this, he can DJ. I was thinking, okay, I'll share it on my Facebook. I will talk with some friends I have in the center of the city with a nice bar, and I want to have this on the first Friday after we get our paychecks. Everybody gets their paychecks, so everybody has money, because towards the end of the month we usually didn't have any money left. So we organized this party. 200 people showed up. Wow. It was cool, great. Oh yeah, nice. Then people were like, okay, we heard this great party happened. We want to go to the next one. And people that were there, they were like, okay, when's the next one? And I was like, I don't know. And that was just a one-time thing. And so we grew to 500, 700, 800 people. Then we went down to 100 because we thought we were invincible. And so this became like a side gig I was doing. And actually I started to make more money from the parties than I was making at my job. Yeah. And then I decided to quit my job. I took a loan from the bank of 10,000 euros just one day before I quit. And then I said, sayonara, motherfuckers. So yeah, and right then, like 2 weeks after this, my business partner, the guy I was doing the parties with, went to bed and never woke up.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was 29 at the time.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and
was it did he OD?
Well,
or?
we don't actually know, because he had just broken up with his girlfriend. He got a big apartment, like on credit, and a new car, and he had like a lot of pressure on him. He didn't go to work, and they called him like after 2 weeks, like, if you don't show up tomorrow, they will fire you. And we don't know if he took something so he can sleep well, so he can go to work the next day, or he took some more stuff so he doesn't wake up.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So yeah, this had quite an impact on me, because it was a surprise. And what it did for me, it made me analyze, and not only analyze, like really go deep into what I like to do in life and what I don't like. And I realized I don't like so much the nights that I'm spending with different people. I didn't like the negotiations with the clubs. I did enjoy very much to be the host. Like, yeah, come to my
Yeah,
party.
of
Yeah,
course,
this is
yeah.
great. I like the marketing, getting people to the party, but not so much the actual like being there. And I didn't see this as my life, you know. So yeah, I quit. I finished with the parties. I tried afterwards a whole bunch of things like real estate, like making a magazine with lifestyle in Bucharest. I had a company that would bring cars from the European Union to Romania, secondhand, used. Then
Yeah.
I had business that was called Life Experiences, that you can buy something, but not as like physical things, but experiences. I was an agent for some guys that were doing stand-up comedy and some theater. So I was doing all these things at the
Wow.
same time, but none of these things were making me any money, or
Mhm.
I don't know, a couple of $100 per month.
Right.
Yeah. So in about 10 months, I burned through all the money I took from the bank,
Yeah.
which in my mind, these were money for business reasons. Like, yeah, I'm going to be the entrepreneur. I'm going to have the money. All you need is ideas and money, and
Right.
done.
Yeah.
Yes. And at the same time, in this time, it was also an inside journey. I was watching a lot of documentaries like Zeitgeist, or you know,
Mm.
a lot of stuff that was actually putting a lot of
Zeitgeist, he said. That's great documentary for anyone looking for an eye opener. Zeitgeist is a fantastic doc.
Actually, a lot of these things were putting a lot of, or how I was receiving it. It wasn't the documentary that was doing this. It was my own view of the world, my own perspective. I was feeling a lot of guilt. I was feeling guilt because I am kind of like privileged.
Mm.
I'm living this life and this is great, and kids are dying in Africa and we have a lot of problems, and how can I solve them? How can I do all this? And at the same time, because of this new information that was coming, like the 1% are taking the money from the 99% and all these things, I was thinking, oh shit, even if I make money, they're going to take it away from me. If I make money, the corrupt politicians are going to take it, or somebody's going to take my money. So there's no reason to make more money.
Right.
I had a strange, I can say fucked up relationship with money.
Yeah.
Like the way I saw it around me, and the way I saw it as something that was pulling the civilization down, not
Right.
raising
I
it up.
mean, money is that we all hear this, especially if you have a religious upbringing. You know, money is the root of all evil. Meanwhile, Rome is the most gilded, you know, you don't find more gold anywhere except for maybe China than you will in Rome. I mean, talk about it. I mean, the place is built on gold. And so, you know, you're saying you had a lot of beliefs and a lot of conflicting ideas about money, specifically money as a form of abundance, but
Yeah.
you know, not only about making it, but already where you were, where you wanted to go. And so you were starting to become aware of all these ideas that were kind of in conflict with what you were learning about yourself.
Yeah. And there were three things that really, I believe, helped me to change this, and not only change my perception of life, but changed my income also, so that in 8 months from this point where I felt stuck and didn't know what to do, and had a disbelief in myself and in humans in general, like my worldview was very negative. I was like, nah, fucking shit, we're gonna die. Humans are like a disease. This is all like fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And so three things. One, I met my mentor, now very good friend, David Culberson. He was the same age as me, but living a totally different life. Like he was also coming from humble beginnings and like not born in wealth and so on. So he traveled around the world. He had all the cool toys and the gadgets, like an Audi R8, a cool villa in the south of Spain. Yeah, so he was living it up with 4 businesses on like 3 continents, and like a very cool guy. Besides all this, he was also sharing his secrets of how he got there and on business side and so on. So that was the first proof. That was the first example for me that it can be another way. There is another way of being, of somebody that is making a lot of money and, you know, is also doing good in the world.
Right.
So I was like, interesting. So this guy was very smart and he learned a lot of things, but by spending a lot of time with him, I realized he's not Superman. Like there's nothing really special about him that I couldn't do.
Right.
And this was very important for me back then, like to really have proof that it can be different.
Yeah.
Then second thing that happened, I went to a Vipassana retreat.
Oh.
Yeah.
So tell everyone what a Vipassana retreat is in case they haven't heard about it.
Yes, of course. So Vipassana is a technique, we can say. They say this is how the Buddha got enlightened. And what you actually do is go to this retreat for 10 days. And you meditate from 4:30 in the morning until 7:30 in the evening. And you go through this process. They're teaching you how to observe yourself, how to notice the difference between objective reality and subjective reality. And this really, like, it was a hard experience at the time. I didn't know much about meditation. I was like, yeah, I want to try it. I was
You're
feeling,
like, what did I sign up for? Jesus.
I was feeling this like depressed and anxious, and I was thinking there must be like a way out. What way out could there be? And a lot of my friends were recommending this. A lot of my new friends that I made by going through this events and so on. And yeah, I went there. I was thinking, I knew before going that there's going to be one meditation every day. It's called Aditana, where you're not allowed to move. And I was thinking before going, like, nobody tells me what to do. When they're not looking, I'm gonna move. My body, I can do whatever I want.
Right.
I get there, and the organizers, like the one of the guru guys that was there, he was like, so if you cheat, you are only cheating yourself, because we're not gonna give you a diploma when this is over. You're not doing this for somebody else. You're doing this for yourself. If you're gonna cheat and you're gonna go home and you will think, yeah, I finished the 10 days of silence, well, you will only know this yourself, and you actually cheated. So yeah, it
was a silent retreat, right?
Yeah, it's a 10-day.
It's a 10-day silent
where
retreat.
you're not allowed to talk to anybody. It's silent. You're not allowed to bring phones or even something to write. This is because it's forcing you, the environment, and you're there to stay with yourself, to stay inside, without the distractions, without anything. Feel what is going on inside. And with this Aditana thing, from the second day they introduced it until the last day, I was able to not move for 1 hour every morning, lunchtime, and evening. And this changed my story in my head about being a rebel. I thought I'm the rebel. Nobody tells me what to do and all these things in all instances or in all situations. And I realized I can choose to be how I want. If I want to learn something new, I can focus on that thing. I don't need to be a rebel because there's a distraction and so on. So the stories that or in my mind, I started to be aware of them. I started to be more in touch with my body to see, oh, this is how it feels when it's contracting. And this is so good when we're talking about some good things that are expanding our consciousness, and the love that we feel is so good. And after leaving there, I started feeling this aliveness, this like I was so happy to be just alive. And while I was in the cubicle job, I was looking for my purpose. This was like my mission. Well, I need to find my purpose, and if I don't find my purpose, I don't want to start something, because what if I do and then it's not my purpose?
Right.
So better find the purpose first, and then everything will just arrange and everything will just fall into the right place.
Right.
Well, actually, from my own experience, the purpose, my core purpose is to be alive.
Right.
That's what I found. That's my belief now. And there's layers to this. For example, I'll go into this a little bit later, but that's my core thing right now, and was since I left the Vipassana retreat.
What a difference! What a difference in what you're to have the kind of pressure on yourself to be somebody, this, and it's almost I dare to say capitalistic pressure that we shape through our children through childhood and growing up in most of these societies, not all of them, but most of them, it's like, no, you have to get the good job. You got to get a nice car. But it's a lot of pressure. Right. And sometimes when you take that kind of pressure off and say it's just enough to just be, then all of a sudden your creativity can just come pouring out. That's what, when you disassociate with that kind of pressure. That's incredible that you realized that from your retreat.
Yeah, that was a very powerful thing for me. And I noticed the shift in how I was seeing the world and how I was seeing myself, and this pressure that I was putting on myself, like to do something right, to do it. I released it, and it felt very like, okay, let's create something beautiful. Let's live on this planet. Let's enjoy it. So good. So it was feeling good inside a lot. And the third thing that happened was that my friend Ciprian told me about business on Amazon, Amazon FBA. And I told other friends, and but I told a lot of friends, but only 3 of other friends said, okay, we believe in this. So each of us had our own business, but we were meeting twice per week at my studio apartment in Bucharest, and we were masterminding. Like we were trying to find the solutions to everything. I didn't have any more money, so I sold my car for the first inventory for this business, because it's a physical product. So we are ordering in China, and then we sell in the US. So this was the third thing, because it really helped me to be in a group. They were holding me accountable, and we were sharing everything there, like how we can. So in 4 months, I was already making $3,000 profit. This was my first month on Amazon. Then the second month I made some mistakes, no stock. What can you do? Beginners. Yeah. And then I started growing. And in 8 months from when I started to this point, to when I had like a positive cash flow also in my business, I packed my favorite clothes in one suitcase and I started traveling around the world. Yeah. And that was almost 7 years now.
Wow. Yeah, because when I met you, I was like, where did you come from? And you were like, well, you didn't have a straight answer for me. I was like, but I wasn't like, I was like, normally I would be like a little shady about that, but it wasn't shady coming from you somehow. You were just like, well, I was here and then I was here. And I was like, okay, so where are you from? But so that's incredible. So
yeah, thank you.
You've really been, you decided that, I mean, because you could do this once you're set up, then it's a matter of maintenance and upkeep and making sure that, everything is going down the way it should be.
Yeah.
You were able to then really just hit the road and travel. And that's what you did, right?
Yeah, it was my dream. Talking about purpose earlier, really felt like this is my purpose, to travel. What is your purpose? To travel around the world. I want to do it. It was my dream. I was feeling like I want to explore. I want the adventure. I want the novelty. I want it all, And I remember I was seeing a therapist before I left. And she was like, nah, I think you have some unresolved issues with your mom, unresolved issues with your dad. I think you're actually trying to run away, and this is not good, and you should stay here, solve all your problems, and then you'll be able to go around the world free. And I started to believe this, like, maybe she's right, man. I don't want to go around the world with problems. And maybe she's right. I was also feeling inside like you're playing a video game and you beat the boss at level 20.
Yeah.
You don't want to hang out at level 20 anymore.
No, right. I hear you.
So I felt like I lived enough in Romania and in Bucharest, and I felt like I've done all the things, like GTA. You're going everywhere, you're playing all the things.
You're like, I already did this.
I've lived this. Like I don't want to stay here anymore. It feels like I'm in a box. I was feeling the pressure. So I left.
Good for you.
And I believe it was the best decision.
I believe it was too, man, because you know why? Because you were following your greatest excitement. You were following your greatest passion, which was to travel, which was to see. And when the soul has that kind of a yearning and you say yes to it, man, I'm telling you, the universe opens up for you. And I know, even if I didn't know who you were and what you've done, I know where the story would go from here. I have a great idea of where it would go from here, because I know what happens when you follow your love, when you follow your passion, even if it's into the unknown. And that's the biggest challenge that some people have, is like, I don't know if I can do that because I don't know. It's an unknown, right? You have to be willing to trust in the outcomes that are going to come your way, but follow your passion, right? So tell me what happened. First of all, like tell me where you got off to, what you started to see, and then what started to happen with your businesses.
Man, I started going first to I had some wallpapers on my desktop, and first thing first, I wanted to go in those places.
I thought I was the only fucking person who, I guess that's crazy thought, but I'm the only like dork who like makes a note of like, oh my God, that's beautiful. I want to put that on my bucket list. I want to see that. You know what I mean? That's hilarious to hear you say you do that too. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I remember I had also a picture. I printed it and I put it in my cubicle next to my monitor. And I was like looking at that, looking at the numbers things, and then so on. So That was my first destination. It was Zanzibar, in Africa, and it's so good, so beautiful. It was the first time I was seeing that that color of the water with so white, soft sand. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I thought, wow, I can't believe it. You know, and I was in a hammock. Yeah, just laying there like this, like a
Nice.
boss. And after this, I went to Dubai, spent some time with some friends there, and then went 3 weeks on a catamaran around the islands between Thailand and Malaysia. Yeah, spent some time in Asia. Then I had to go to an event in US. I spent a lot of money in US. San Francisco, LA, Vegas, New York. I went to all these places, and I also wanted to do the things that I always wanted and saw in movies, like driving supercars or flying helicopters or going to the set of Friends, like the show. I used to be obsessed with it. So all these things, my bank balance was coming like. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go to Mexico to chill for a bit. And I found a lot of inspiration at the event. I connected with people. I thought I was the shit. I was making maybe about I think it was maybe between $5,000 and $10,000 in profit at that time. And for me, it was like crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I going to this event, I met people that were making 100K, 200K, and so on. I was like, whoa.
Well,
wow.
200K, what, a month?
A month, yeah.
A month, yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is possible. Wow, crazy. And at the same time, a lot of the people I was talking to, they couldn't believe my lifestyle. They thought I was a multi-billionaire. Like they were like,
they're like,
you did what in the last month? Like, no. You must, like, what are you, the co-founder of Apple, of like.
I can see why we gravitated so much towards each other when we were at Burning Man together. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So for this, just for people to understand better, this I got a lot from the book I was recommending before, the 4-Hour Workweek. And that's where the Tim Ferriss recommends to look at life differently and to see what you can be, do, and then have.
Right.
So if you're looking at things that you want to be, like better speaker of Spanish, or tango dancer, or world traveler, or all these things you want to be, and then what you want to do. So you want to maybe go somewhere, or you want to, like, things you want to do. And then last one is to have on your list. Right. And I think me included, before I used to put the haves before everything else, because I thought once I have these things, I will be respected and loved, and all these things. And my obsession was cars. I used to know all the cars, all the models, everything, all the tuning things, all the small details. And once I started traveling, I realized how much of my bandwidth was spent on some like mini tiny, like so crazy small thing of this earth, that is so abundant in everything you want. You can do a lot of things, you can experiment, you can taste, you can so many things. And I was focusing on cars, the model, the spoiler, the thing, like, oh my god. Yeah
that's the evolution right there. I mean, you know, It's sometimes you have to kind of get into those details of and and what's amazing is that there's nothing more material or symbolic of the material wealth than the fancy car, than the Lamborghini. I mean,
Yeah.
those vehicles, I mean, they're so sleek and we marvel at them and they're beautiful. Don't get me wrong. And I love looking at them myself, and I point them out my kids, so they enjoy seeing them too.
Yeah.
They're amazing, but they are a very great kind of symbol and example of how we get caught in the material, in the material world, and make that the focus when maybe it shouldn't be.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I still like nice things. I still like
I know you do. I see that.
yeah. I was with a friend of mine in Zurich last week. He wanted to buy a new Lamborghini, and we went to the dealership and we tested a few cars. And yeah, we tested the car, and I was with him, and we changed and so on. And we talked, and we were like, dude, do you really need to own this? Like,
Yeah.
why? I mean, yeah, successful in business and everything, but listen, again, what I learned in my journey is that there's one thing to own something, and the
Yeah.
other thing is usability. So a lot of people just take it as a trophy, they put it in the garage, and they use it 5 days per year
Right.
when
Literally.
the weather is nice or whatever. And I want to use it. So when I'm in the US, I use Turo, and I rent crazy cars,
Yeah.
right? Like all this crazy stuff. And also anywhere around the world, I prefer to have the money coming in so that I can afford to rent it for the days when I want. Maybe again, 10 days out of the year.
Right.
And I prefer more that freedom than owning it and thinking about insurance and thinking about the oil change and thinking about tire change.
Thinking about how you're not driving that car you spent all that money on. Like, should I be driving it? Like it's it takes up a lot of it takes up more space in every way, inside and out.
Yeah. And by seeing more of the world, I started also to see how actually less I liked to actually drive, and I like to be driven. And while I'm in Bali, I like to ride my scooter, and it's beautiful and it's freeing and it's so good. We just got into this concepts that how life is supposed to be. But if you go and see other cultures and see other parts of the world, they never got this memo. They don't they don't know that life is supposed to be like this and this. So they're doing it in a totally different way,
and totally happy doing it that way.
Yes.
That's the most important thing to realize, is like there's a lot of ways to do something, and we have these ideas in our head, and they can be very limiting, because your ideas are going to help shape your experience, and your expectations particularly can begin to shape your experiences. So there's that loop that happens. So one of the best ways to start to bring in novel experiences and surprises is to take some, those that my kids are always watching Looney Tunes on television. I'm like, man, it's so violent. But Wile E. Coyote's always trying to blow up the Roadrunner, and he always uses those old school sticks of dynamite. You got to take one of those old school sticks of dynamite to this expectation loop and blow it up, because then things start to show up that you didn't expect, and some of them can be pretty amazing.
Yes, I like how you explained it. So going back to your initial question, I started traveling, and I was seeing about 20 I was averaging, except last year, about 20 countries per year. Sometimes going fast, like now with the road trip, going fast from one country to another. Fast, it's like 2 months. But other times just staying somewhere and getting to know locals and experiencing what they are, and yeah, just being in one place for more time. It is also something that I love to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not there's something to that. Absolutely. You know, you find yourself keep going back to the same place, and you got to stop and think, well, maybe I should stay a little longer next time, so I don't have to go back so soon. Putting aside some of the expenditures that were happening on your adventures, what was going on with your businesses at the same time?
Yeah, so because I was meeting with a lot of people, and I was seeing that they're building empires, you know, like and they're putting in a lot of work. Like this isn't happening out of nowhere. They're putting in the work, and it has results. And I was thinking, to work more. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I had some cash flow issues in my business because I took a big loan from Amazon. I bought a lot of stock, but because my business is like sales are more up in summer or at the beginning of the year, somewhere in October, November, not so good. I was paying the loan from the money I was getting from Amazon, and there wasn't much left for me to eat. Yeah. So at this point, I started to think, oh shit, I'm dependent on one source of income. Maybe there's something else I can do.
Right.
And I talked with my friends. They were like, and I helped a lot of my friends to also get started on Amazon. And I was telling them, I want to teach this to other people. And they were like, no, man, it's a secret. Don't tell the secret, man. It's our secret. Don't tell it. And I was like, we also found out from somebody. Like,
yeah.
if people don't find out from me, they're gonna find out maybe later, and then later it will be too late.
Right.
So if we don't take advantage of this opportunity, somebody in Guatemala, somebody
right.
in I don't know, Zimbabwe will take advantage of it. So it's now. And only one of my friends said, yeah, man, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So we put together a program, and we asked $500 for it. We started promoting it online, and 100 people signed up. Good, very nice. Now we had proof that it works because people started getting results. And it was like, okay, we can raise the price. And my partner, Klaus, he was like, I don't think we should. I think 500 is enough. And I said, no, it's a very good program. And people will, even if they feel a little bit like a stretch,
yeah,
they will appreciate it even more.
Right.
And it's a lot of value. They will make this money in the first month.
That's right. It's like you're teaching someone how to fish, so they're going to be able to feed themselves. So
the only thing is, the average salary in Romania, it's about $400 per month. So asking 1,500 for a course is like,
yeah. People got to say, but you did. So, and then,
we did.
And at this point, it was just Romania, right?
It was just Romania. Yeah. And it still is. Like, we never
okay.
Expanded. Yeah. Expanded. It grew. Like, we had the second course, and there were 170 people.
Wow.
And we had 410. Then we had 1,009.
Wow.
Yeah. And it kept growing. So we now have over 4,000 people in our community.
Wow.
Of course, not all of them have results. Some of them that never even started, but there's hundreds of success stories of people that are now only doing Amazon and change their life completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also my Amazon business kept on going.
Yeah.
I made a conscious decision to not build my empire.
Right.
I noticed that my friends that were doing this were focusing a lot on work and neglecting other parts of their life, and I didn't feel like that was for me. I appreciate that they built these things, and I was just like on my Facebook today, a friend of mine sold his business for $90 million.
Wow.
So it's possible, and if you have the stomach for it,
right,
then maybe it's good. But I cannot think like that, like to sacrifice to some time to then have something.
Right.
I wouldn't give what I experienced in these years for any amount of money.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I made the conscious decision that I will treat my business as a lifestyle business, and it's bringing in some money to sustain my lifestyle.
Right.
It will need maintenance. We will probably grow. It will probably go down, but it's like I don't want to focus on it. It's good that it's there and there's a team that is handling it, but I'm not the one working every day and we need to launch the new product and we need to do this. I wanted time. That's what the business and the money I was making, I really wanted, was to have more time. So yeah, with the second business, I found also that my purpose was shifting. I did all the crazy things. I did all the hedonistic things. And I realized how cool I felt when I was helping others. So then I started to give more of my time to helping others in the community with the videos, with everything we were doing. And then this business also became pretty like automated. Now we have a lot of mentors. We have people helping. It's a system almost what we built there. So yeah, that itself it's not taking a lot of my time either. So I started to go more inside. I started to go also outside because of all my travels and so on, and realized that this personal development, this growth, this awareness, is what I really want to share about. And this is what I want to I want to be surrounded with people that have the same drive and have the same mindset and want to do good in the world. You know how I met my mentor, David? I wanted only people like this around me. And this is kind of what I've been doing for the last almost 2 years now, building this community of enlightened millionaires.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel the need to explain enlightened millionaires because when I say this, I started introducing myself. By the way, I started introducing myself this way, like the humble enlightened millionaire, and people go like,
yeah,
like maybe like woke or something, like enlightened. Okay, millionaire and what? Didn't your parents tell you that it's not polite to tell everybody like how much money you make and all these things? Like,
yeah,
come on, a little bit. But I believe our words create our reality. And I don't want to associate myself with any word that is already in a container in somebody's like entrepreneur or investor or something like this. I don't say no, I'm not an entrepreneur. When somebody introduces me or something, no, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. But when I introduce myself, what I want to embody is a humble, enlightened millionaire. And enlightened, if you look it up in the dictionary, it's also the spiritual stuff, which I am very for, but it also means freed from ignorance and misinformation.
Mm.
Ooh.
I
How
love
that
that. Yeah.
sounds. I love it. And then this is for me the freedom inside, like how you feel inside. And then a millionaire for me, it's a symbol of outside freedom. A millionaire is free to follow his own prosperity vision. Like whatever you envision, what you want to create in the world, you can do it because you have the millions, and the millions are good because they can be a force of good if you want.
Yeah.
And I already have money coming in from my businesses. My business have grown. I'm very blessed, and it's very cool. Maybe I will grow my lifestyle and all these things, but how I look at money now, it's more like all this how do you call this in English, from a lot it's coming to here, when you pour a lot of like a drink, and
like a funnel.
Like a funnel, yeah, like a funnel. I'm like a funnel, and through me, it's conducted all this money, and I can put it wherever I want.
Right. You're the vortex.
Yeah, I wasn't willing to take this responsibility. I was thinking small. I was thinking, I only need this much. I only need this much because this is what I need, and this is what will make me happy. And my number was $3,000. It was really, because I was thinking like leasing, to get a car, to get a nice place, to travel. How much do you need? This is what you need. And now I'm realizing that that's okay. That's stage 1 or 3, whatever. But now I'm thinking, how I can impact and how I can put that money where I think it's good.
Right.
Can be businesses, can be projects, can be charities, can be whatever I want, because money,
freedom.
Yeah, money
you have the freedom.
Exists anyway. So why shouldn't I just take it and put it wherever I want?
You're exactly right. I mean, and you were the only one keeping yourself from that realization, but you didn't know it, but you had to come into a greater consciousness. I love that. I love that story, Alex. I mean, it speaks volumes, and the way that you evolved, and the way that your thinking evolved, and the way that you continue to reassess who you are and who you wanted to be, right? Because we get to a place, and the reason why we feel stuck is because we become stagnant. We get stuck in our routine. I don't care who you are. Most people get stuck in a routine, and it gets what happens in the mind and in the brain, as you probably know, is when you do the same thing over and over again, it gets harder and harder to go and then try to create a new routine and or break that routine. And they can actually see that physically in the mind when that starts to happen to people. And then it gets hard to wake up in the morning because you're not excited. You kind of already know what your day is going to be. I mean, Dr. Joe talks about this really well. Also, I learned a lot from being a student of his, and continuing to study from him. You get stuck, and so you got there's a part of the mind that's always going to crave novelty. That's always, and I think that's the part of your mind that's really directly connected to your soul. I think it's your soul that's craving that. Yeah. I think some people have just gotten so stuck in their routine that they have kind of quieted that part of the mind, and they don't know why they're so unhappy, Mm-hmm. So then you take them somewhere, and all of a sudden they're a different person. You're like, hey, you should get out more often. I say that because I have a lot of experiences with that, people who I have to drag out kicking and screaming, I'm like, come on, man, just come and see all right. You know what I mean? It's like, God forbid you go and have a good time willingly. I got to convince you and twist your arm the whole time. But, oh man. So, when we met, let's fast forward to 2019 when we met in the desert and kind of I had such a great impression of you when I met you, and then we ended up hanging out all night that one night, and you were dressed up as, what did you dressed up as a king, because Paul started calling you king, and then we called you king from that night out. But
I had like a crown thing, and then I was dressed like a king for one night. Yes, I remember it. Yes,
that's right. And all of a sudden Paul started calling you king, and he was like, yo, there's King. I'm like, who? Oh, hey King. Oh man, we had a couple of great nights. It was a good time, man. But so that's it's incredible what you're doing, and I know that you're doing you're continuing to build this community online, and you're continuing to do it with in a conscious way. And I think a lot of people hearing this who are trying to understand that, you hear a lot about the laws of attraction and manifestation, and what I think happens to a lot of people is they inevitably get stuck waiting to have before they feel, when you really have to start to begin to feel before you can have.
Yeah,
it's a great misnomer in our society, this whole notion that seeing is believing. It's complete bullshit. Yeah, sure, seeing is believing, but anybody can do that. Believing before you see is the magic. And the more you realize your immense capacity to create and manifest by believing before it shows up, the more you will experience it in your life. And that's the great secret, that all the sages and the gurus and I believe as far back as the medicine men of old, they had an understanding of this, and that's why people sought them out for advice and for counsel. So it's like, but we the world we live in right now is in a great upheaval for a lot of reasons, and I think one of the biggest reasons why is because we've been conditioned of this notion of scarcity, and this notion that there isn't enough. And I don't believe that for a moment. And I know that's my personal experience, but I also know that it's this collective belief that there's not enough room, not enough money, not enough resources. We don't have enough food. We throw away more food here in the United States every night than, we could pretty much feed every starving child in the world just on what we throw away each night. But we have not creatively come up with a way to take this excess food and bring it to the people who are starving. We're so consumed with all these other melodramas that we create that the most basic things that you would think that we would have solved in the year 2021, like world hunger. Why is world hunger still a fucking thing? How is it still a thing? You know what I'm saying? It's appalling. It's flabbergasting that we still have world hunger. It's 2021. I mean, they're going to be busting out the anti-gravitic spaceship soon to show you what they've been working on underground for 50 years, pretty any day now. And you're going to realize the technology that's been sat on for so long. And so we can't get food from here to the people who need it before it spoils. Really? I mean, the notion is laughable, but
there's a lot of issues like this. And this kind of issues used to consume me. Like I used to think about these things a lot. And I learned from another mentor that also became a very good friend. His name is Jesse Elder. He said, I stopped looking at what is true, and I started looking at what is useful. this was like another shift for me, because I started to practice this selective ignorance, something that I cannot directly impact right now. I don't want it in my mind.
Can you teach me how to do this? I think I definitely need tutorials on this one, because I spend way too much time. Go ahead.
Man, I used to be like I told you, like a lot of these things were draining my energy, and I like to think of it as like bandwidth. We have like this much or this much energy, or however you want to call it, and if I'm spending half of it on world hunger, if I'm spending 25% on I don't know, is the virus real or not, then I am left with only 25% for the rest of my day. And I want to do things. I think the world can be changed by example. You know, I heard this like Gandhi stuff. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Right.
And I didn't really understand it, but I think more and more. I'm not there yet, but more and more I'm feeling this more. So if I am alive, I'm feeling this aliveness. If I am creative, if I am being the best version of myself, then all my interactions, everything where I go, every person I meet will be impacted,
affected, absolutely
affected by this. And I believe a lot in the ripple effect. You know, when you drop, like, and it goes like this in water, it's the same with energy. I believe it's the same. It's contagious, like bad and good. But I want to be part of the good energy that I'm sharing with people. So it's these thoughts that if I want to change the world, I need to take care of myself. I want to fill my cup first so that it's overflowing. And that with that overflow, it's from my experience, I feel natural to go and be of service. There's no contraction. Like, I wake up in the morning when I am like this. I also have shitty days, and I also have bad days. Let's not put this into like, oh, he's only seeing rainbows and unicorns and he lives in Wonderland. No, I am still human and still deal with a lot of negative stuff. But I also have a lot of days when I wake up happy and I feel like I am part of this, whatever this is, and I want to create. I want to meet with people. I want to connect. I want to do stuff. From my experience, when I'm feeling good, I want to do stuff. When I'm feeling down, that's when, like, taking my phone, or like, scrolling, trying to get a little bit of dopamine just so I can maybe do something. This was a concern of mine a few years ago. Like, what will happen if I won't have to work? Will I just lay there on the beach or something like this? And it's good. I'm not excluding this from my experience. Like, it's good to stay like this numb for a few days and so on. But actually what did happen was I started to have these ideas of growth, of impact, of, I want to do this. Oh, this is exciting. I want to go on this adventure. Oh, I want to meet with this person, and so on. It's such an expanding and free way of being.
And sometimes, you know, and I learned this from an incredible woman who, she was our very first, she's our number one, 001. She was our first podcast. And her name is Michaela Sheldon, but she often, and she taught me this really in a way I didn't understand before, you know, how important it is to take your foot off the gas sometimes. Just you even take your hands off the wheel just long enough for things that are trying to come into your field, you know, into your field or your point of view or into your perspective, that are trying to get in, that can't get in because, I mean, you got a white knuckle grip on the wheel and you're locked on to a very, you know, you're trying to stay. That's right. And so you got, it's very hard for things to make their way into your existence, into your life, because you're going very fast one way, right? So if you, let's just say pull the car over because it sounds safer. If you pull the car over and take a break from driving so hard, a lot of things can show up for you. A lot of things can happen for you when you stop efforting so much and in a three-dimensional way, and then kind of allow these things that, you know, you've been creating and generating and manifesting to show up in some of the craziest ways you can possibly imagine. You know, that's what I've learned as well. And I think that's a little bit of what you're talking about, I think, as well.
It is, yes. And I do love my alone time. I started meditating. I started incorporating different other habits. Some of them I've been consistent, some of them no. And recently I did something interesting, I could say. I spent 6 days in total darkness.
In a darkness retreat?
Yeah, darkness.
Oh shit! How was it?
Yeah, that was very cool, actually. That was very good. Yes, I liked it so much. I think I'm gonna do it on a regular basis.
When let me know when you go back. Let me know when you go back. Where is it?
It's in Bali.
Oh man, let me know when you go. Because I've been dying to. I mean, I want to do it. Since I heard about it, I want to do it, and I'm gonna do it. So, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So spending time with myself is very important to me. I also don't feel like I want to live in a monastery or somewhere isolated for a long period of time. And I want to be part of the world. I think I was born this time to be contemporary with everything that's going on for a reason. I don't want to use a card like, I'm sorry, yeah, this is all fucked up. I'm going away in the mountains.
I'll see you next year.
See you in 50 years. Yeah. So I also like this being part of the world, and my time is like split between alone time and being with people. I consider myself an introvert that learned how to be an extrovert. And these interactions, a lot of going out and being with other people, I love it and I enjoy it a lot. And then I need time to recharge and be by myself. So yeah, and in a lot of these alone times, I just let myself imagine and let myself, it's like a muscle of curiosity and of imagination that I'm building. And there was one exercise my mentor friend David taught me. It's called the perfect day. And with this perfect day, I started this process. I was talking with him a few days ago, and I was saying, I haven't done the perfect day in a while now. And he says, yeah, but it's a way of life, man. Once you started,
yeah,
it was like a muscle you haven't used before. But now tell me, what are you doing when you're home? Like, aren't you yeah, I'm doing this. Aren't you thinking about how the business, how the community, how the world, all these things will change, and how you want to impact, and how you're? And I was like, yeah, that's what I do. So you're doing
It
all
becomes
yeah.
it becomes second nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell everyone what the exercise is in case they want to practice it.
Sure. I can give you a quick description.
Yeah, quick summary, sure.
Yeah. So in the perfect day, you are God, or you are a God, if you don't prefer to be God, on another planet. We are doing this because we don't want to bring your stories and your limitations of what is possible. And you're God on this planet, and you want to describe to yourself with all your senses what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, everything. You want to describe it as if it's happening in the now, in the current time. And you can be whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, and you can bring things from our reality, but without naming them. Yeah, I'm with Faust in LA, and we're drinking this soda, and this is great, and blah, blah, blah. Like, no.
Right.
You want to describe the people you're with, the locations you're at, everything. Describe. How would you describe those things? And while you're doing this, most important, how it makes you feel inside.
That's right. Yeah.
Remember, you're describing your perfect day. So you can imagine anything that happens in a day. And why would you have something that it's not supposed to be there? You know, when I first started this exercise, I was thinking, I'm gonna drive a super fast car to a big office, and it's going to be my office, and it's gonna be like all like, how crazy was I that in my perfect day I was still going to work? But this is how much my imagination was going then. And that's why I'm always saying it's like a muscle we build. That's why now I'm imagining, and I'm feeling so much more. But it's a process, you know. You can't. You have to stick with it.
Yeah,
and
you stick with it, and like any muscle, it will expand. It will get bigger the more you use it. You know.
Yes. And I'm proof that it works. That if you build this muscle, you start to have results in your life. This is the woo part that I believe in, but you don't have to believe in this part if you don't want to. If you just do the exercise, it's like an onion peeling off layers of layers, and in the middle you'll find what really excites you, what you really want to do in your life, and then do that. I mean, it's going to be a way for you to get to do that, because it's in your perfect day. It's what you really feel excites you and makes you alive. So hello, it's there. Maybe something in your life has to change, so you have more of that. And like I said, the woo part is that after I started doing this, I started getting glimpses in the real world of what I was imagining. I was like, yeah, I've seen this before. Yeah, okay. Where did I see this before?
Where did I see? Yeah, this looks familiar.
Exactly. And after that, more and more, my life started to be like in my perfect day. And the perfect day is not a one-time thing that you need to remember how you did it so that you manifest it exactly the same. No, tomorrow can be another one. And in 3 years from now, you can have a totally different perfect day. You are always changing. So no need to say, but where was I? How was I describing the house? How was I describing the house?
Yeah.
So yeah, this exercise was really helpful for me. I'm sharing it with my friends in the program and everything. I think it's powerful, and I always tell people from my experience, because I don't think you need to be good at this from the beginning.
Right.
I used to have a lot of things on my mind, and I was like, what the hell is this imagine, like why do I need to do this, like
Right.
I have a lot of stuff already on my mind. Why do I need to think about
Right. Now I got to sit down. Yeah.
So yeah, it takes a little bit of like courage to do it, but then yeah, from my experience and from other people I talked with, magic starts to happen.
That's right. And it's for all intents and purposes, it is literal magic, because it's impossible to explain how some things happen all of a sudden. You know, we do, it's, if you've heard the concept of a vision board, vision boards are great, but the problem with a vision board is they're kind of outside of you, and you're looking at these things, and so some people can really make them work, and sometimes they take a few years, and some people figure out a way to get them to work quicker. But this notion of a vision board, as I mentioned, you know, and people who have been listening know I'm a huge fan and student of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he met a woman from Australia who created a program called Mind Movies. And I was like, mind movies? What the fuck? Everything in your movies, like, anyway, I was judging it as soon as I heard about it. But then I had to make a mind movie for one of Dr. Joe's retreats. And what this program that this woman made, wonderful woman, I can't remember her name right now, but she's incredible. She would come to the events and literally help, because some of the people in the events, Dr. Joe would say, some of you are still pretending that you're technologically incapable of using this software. And he's like, and so we're here to help you. So she would show up and help people. You know, the software is really easy to use, but some people are like, I don't know how to use this thing, you know, like, and they wouldn't be able to make their mind movies. But basically you're taking it was inspired by The Secret, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until this woman discovered Dr. Joe's work and learned more about, you know, just about not just the quantum mechanics of manifestation, but also, you know, about how it's all tied together, and how emotion and feeling is integral, right? Because that's the heart, that's the magnetic. You can have, you know, the electric is going all the time for a lot of people, and we tend to stay very intellectual. But when you go electromagnetic, you know, when you open this center up, you literally become a magnet for your dreams. And it's so she met Dr. Joe, and she created this program, and he loved it, right? And people started to use it for his events. And when I tell you that people were like, you know, going through, you know, this is like their 7th mind movie, because they manifested everything in their first 6, you know what I'm saying? Like, people were literally manifesting, and you know, they show that what amazing is, you create this, right? So you pick a song, you pick the scenes. For me, like, my first mind movie was like I want to be like, you know, like a co-star. I had all these crazy ideas about what it meant to be great in life, you know. And it was so, I look back on it now, like my mind movie now is not even remotely related to any of that career. I just don't associate with that identity anymore, you know? It's so crazy that was, I was so like, I wanted it so bad. And I didn't even realize that desire, that attachment to it is really what was keeping me from it anyway. And of course I booked stuff on TV, and I made movies that made millions of dollars, and that's cool. And I had fun, and I learned a lot about myself, you know what I mean? But I don't care I don't care anymore. Like, if I don't make, I know I'll make more movies because I'm already doing it, and I know I'll probably be in TV again if they let me. if they don't read my Instagram and Facebook posts, they may let me on TV again. But I don't care, you know what I mean? I don't give a shit anymore. Not, you know, like my movie went from, you know, really like, I want to be and embody compassion. I want to be a father that my children, not only just love because they, you love your dad no matter what, but someone who is a role model for them emotionally, physically, and everything I do, and really take full responsibility for that and who I am in this life. And then once those things started to align for me, everything that came after changed. I want to be an influence in the world for good, for change, for an expanded awareness, for health, for mindfulness. These are all my passions, and the more I worked out with myself, the inner stuff, the more I realized that a lot of what I was doing was just, and me trying to find a way in to that, to heal and to integrate and to understand more. I know that now, but it's been a 12-year, 10-year journey. And I would say the most progress was made in the last 3 years. Things really accelerated when I learned meditation, and I really started to learn about spirituality. And I started doing what people would call crazier things, but crazy for one person is not crazy for another. But and that's funny because that's I don't know what Burning Man is just like the environment at Burning Man. I always say, I was like, people are like, what was it like? I'm like, and if they had been to a Dr. Joe retreat, I'm like, do you ever go, like, the energy that's in that room of a Dr. Joe retreat, that kind of like heart energy where everyone is just like, you just want to give everyone a hug and you don't know why you feel like that. That's like Burning Man times 80,000. Like there's like 80,000 people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that environment. And I was drawn to it, and that's how I met you. I mean, I was just like, I'm going to go to Burning Man. And people were like, how many Burning Man is this for you? 7, 8? I'm like, this is my first one. My friend dresses me really well. It's talking about Paul, thank God Paul was there to help me out.
Man, I remember from your story, I was at my first ayahuasca retreat a few years ago, and there was this girl from US, and she was quite depressed, and she was like not in a good place at all. And she had like this cubicle job, and she almost was suicidal. Like she really felt like that's it. And after her second session, her second experience with Aya, she like her face lit up, and she said, I know what I want to do with my life. And she was so excited, and she was like, I'm gonna be a yoga instructor. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Wow. And we're friends on Facebook, and I've seen her change. And it's incredible. Like she went to Burning Man. She married a guy. She lost a lot of weight. Like she's a totally different person.
Yeah.
Now, if you go and ask her colleagues from her cubicle, how was her ayahuasca experience? They would say, oh my God, she went to Peru and she came back crazy. She quit her job. She was like, woo.
She lost it. She lost it.
She lost it completely, like totally gone. Now, if I look at her and I ask her how this experience was for her, she would say like, wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, so grateful, so good, so much to carry and to offload of what I thought was my identity, and now how good I feel and free, and to come from this place to share with people, and to actually teach this thing that I feel I now want to share with others. Fucking shit, man,
it's so crazy. I mean, it's so profound, and there's just so much to it. In like listening to that little voice when it's driving you on, and if it's important, it'll keep going, and it's like, but some people don't want to leave their comfort zone. I had a bunch of friends who wanted to go with me to Burning Man, and I knew I had a good, strong, intuitive feeling that I was going to end up going alone. I mean, I ended up finding somebody who was going to go either way. A friend, an old friend who I met at Burning Man, and we ended up, camping together. He ended up dressing me. My buddy, my brother Paul Ferriss, who I hope listens to this program, probably will. Let's see if he makes it this far into it. But I none of them went, and they were it probably would have changed their life, but they didn't. They were like, they wanted to go, but they didn't want to go and risk, it not being what they imagined it could have been. So they missed out.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it is. And I also learned that it's also about timing. Like for something, like when I was at the corporation, I was very vocal about let's quit. Let's start our own business. Guys, you don't understand. We need to do this fast. We need to go. It's going to be amazing. We are going to be the bosses of ourselves. And this is shit. And actually, I was projecting.
Yeah.
I was talking with myself. And people are at different stages in their lives. And also they have very different backgrounds. Like I cannot judge or push somebody that is coming from like a weird family with dynamics, and now he really got this job that it's very important for the whole family, and like they have different values, they have different missions in this life,
Right.
and I'm in a different time, in a different space for me, and I'm like, everybody, come on, now it's the time, now.
Yeah.
So I learned to be more compassionate about where people are, and if like they're not with me, it's okay. Like
Yeah. No, it's one of the greatest lessons that I've learned, and when people are like, no, I'm not going to go. I'm like, you sure? I'm not like, you're fucking dick. You know what I mean? Like, which is the response that I would have got from them if they had decided to go and I decided I didn't want to go. Like, I don't do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like people have their own lives and their own priorities, and I respect their decisions with compassion, and the people I grew up with still do this a lot. A lot of them are very kind of stuck in the same place emotionally, but they're just like, you fucking asshole. You know what I mean? Like, dude, like I can't, like I don't want to like upset my wife. I can't come. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, let me weigh my options. Being with an unhappy wife or making it to the card game. I don't, I gotta have my priorities right. As much as I'd like to play, I don't want to piss her off. So it's like, it's people grow at their own rate, and it's like you said, to be compassionate is the most important thing. But yeah, man. So let me take you a little far out, my friend, because God, it just I wouldn't feel right if I didn't probe your mind in a way that was extraterrestrial. No, I'm just kidding. They don't probe minds like that. That's such a kind of a terrible stereotype Hollywood put forth about extraterrestrials and probes and all this craziness. But what do you think about, first of all, have you ever seen a UFO? And if you have, where were you? How did you feel when you saw it? And what's your thoughts on all the, you probably haven't been seeing a lot of the quasi disclosure that's been happening in the news, but there's been a lot of stuff going on. Like they've been talking about it. They're like, oh, the Navy, the Pentagon admits that they have this and they have that, and there's UFOs. I'm like, really? No shit. Do we need the Pentagon to confirm for us to know that they knew that? You know what I mean? Really?
Yeah.
But,
What I saw stuff on the sky. I cannot be sure of what I saw. I was talking a few days ago with a good friend of mine, and he said 2030, it's alien invasion time.
Invasion, huh?
Yes. And he said, you'll see that it's going to be more and more in the news. And the way they're going to frame it is that this thing is trying to take over us.
Right.
So we need to protect, and we need to arm, and we need to all do all these things. But he says it's part of the bigger plan.
Right.
Part of the scam that is going on.
The next false flag. The next fake war. The next reason why everybody has to do whatever they're told. Yeah.
Reason. Yeah. And I'm always, since my learnings at the Vipassana Retreat, I do my best to see the objective reality and the subjective. What is the story, and what am I directly experiencing? What can I tell for sure? Because also things happen to me, and I can make some connections and give some meaning to some things just because I want. I read a study, even Dr. Joe talks about it, that more than 50% of our memories are false.
That's right.
Fucking crazy, man. Are you crazy? Like 50%?
Like I think it's an astronomical figure that you would never imagine, that like, especially over time, it did like almost 50% of what we remember didn't happen the way we remember it.
Exactly. So I think I also think about it, like if our state is low and we are scared and we are like, we start to put more emphasis on the bad, and we make one thing that may have happened very big, and oh yeah, fuck that thing, and it happened like this, and it made me, and it's like you're making some connections and you're making this story about your life that is putting you down. And at the same time, if you're feeling good, you're exaggerating in the good part. Anyway, this thing blew me away. Like, wow, 50% man. Crazy. Yeah. So I am careful even with my thoughts.
Right.
Did I really have that experience? Because the experience itself, it's the experience, and then we have the story of how the experience happened. We can talk about how this podcast interview went afterwards, and you will have some memories of it, I will have some memories of it, and God will have different memories of it.
That's right.
Yes. So it's different, you know. It's coming back to the UFO stuff. I didn't have a direct experience that I can 100% sure this was an alien or a UFO or anything like this. So my take on it is, I don't know, possible. It's possible. I mean, I don't know.
Totally understandable. Yeah. You know, I've had a few experiences like that where I saw something, like one of them was in broad daylight, but I don't know, like, you know, it's and then you doubt yourself afterwards, you know, you're like, did I just see that? No one's going to believe if I, because it was here a second and like showed itself and then was gone. And like, did I just totally imagine it?
Do you know the story of the egg?
No, tell me.
The egg it's a cool story. I can send it to you, and maybe you can add it to the show notes. A guy has an accident, and then he goes to heaven, and he has this conversation with God. And I would have to, like, spoiler here.
Okay, well, don't spoil it.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want to, but I can put it.
It's okay. I mean, just see it. The moral of the story is, see the video, and it's like 5 minutes, and I think you're gonna enjoy it. It's
okay. Awesome. I already know I'm gonna enjoy it because I love any conversation with God, as you know. But you know, I want to give you an opportunity, and I'm excited for this answer, knowing you a little bit. And you know, I love asking this question because it's always inspiring to me, and it always just leaves me like a little more able to kind of go and operate my life, and I hope that it does that for everyone who tunes in and stays with the program this long. But you know, if you, Alex, if you could whisper into the ears of every person on the planet, you know, and plant a suggestion, I mean, plant a seed that would take root, that would allow for this planet to thrive in a way that perhaps it's not doing right now, or just allow for someone to enjoy their life in a way that maybe they're not right now. What seed would you plant? What would you say?
To say, I have to think about something short or something, but it would be something about self-awareness. It would be something about knowing yourself. Maybe this would be it, you know, like know thyself.
Know thyself.
Know thyself, something like this. For me, this was important, and it became more and more. And I'm seeing how much the world changes when I am changing. It's so crazy, but true for me. And this is how I see the world changing. If I could whisper something to everybody, it would be to help them become more aware, become more responsible for their own actions, for their own feelings, for their own thoughts, because this is how we create the change. I don't think there's going to be somebody like a leader or Bruce Willis in Armageddon saying, "Ooh, that's it, I saved the world." Right. I don't think this is how to go. I think we all have to raise our consciousness. And what does this mean? What does it raise your consciousness mean? It means to be aware of yourself. Yeah. It means to be aware of what is happening with your body, what is happening in your life, and to have this definition or difference between objective and subjective. What is the story and what is actually in your life? Right. I experienced with Bufo, with 5-MeO EMT recently, and it was a big punch in the face for my ego. Nice. Because I still felt this being the hero of my story. Right. And with this, the big lesson I took from it, I knew about it before, but now feeling it, it's we are together in this, and I'm playing my part and you're playing your part, and who's listening to this is also playing their part, and together we're gonna do great things and change the world and save the world if it needs saving. But I don't think it needs saving. Right. I think it just needs us to be ourselves. It needs us to be the example we want to be in the world. That's right. And that means knowing thyself. It means knowing yourself as well. That's the last real hero's journey left for people. I think it's the only one I think that matters in the end, is to have the courage to know thyself, and even when it's uncomfortable, which it probably will be at first, keep going. You know, I love what you said. Yeah. Yeah, and like we were talking before, people are at different stages in their life. They're at different times, and I don't know if this is like the right time for you, but maybe just even just with the breath, you know, just taking a breath and and being in the present moment, that can change lives, that can be like, whoa, what the fuck.
With each breath comes salvation. I said that in my last podcast because I was speaking to someone who's coming into a great expertise and body of knowledge about breath work. And I told him an old acting saying. I said, you're going to love this, but it's so true. Not just about, not just for actors who in the moment get caught up and they stop breathing, and then they're like, they can't communicate anything. But for people, to remember to breathe with each breath comes salvation. There's a physical relief and grounding that happens when you allow yourself to breathe deeply. And most of us get in the habit of breathing in a shallow way. Like literally there's a and I don't know what the word is, like it's like a pandemic of shallow breathing that is happening. Like, and they did all these studies I was learning about last year about, we used to breathe like it was so few times in a minute, and now we're just we don't do it like that anymore. The society we live in is very fast, and we're very technology stuck. But man, it's breathing it helps you be present, but Alex, this has been awesome, man. It so far exceeded my my idea and my imagination of what we would talk about, and you've grown so much even since I met you 2 years ago, dude. It's incredible to see your growth and hear you talk now, and remembering as accurately as I can, the conversations we had then. Life is always full of surprises. So it's so cool to reconnect to you like this. And dude, well, one of these days we're gonna have to find a way to rendezvous and have a few days and just chill out, and relax in the sun, or have a good time,
Yes,
absolutely, brother.
Yes.
But it's been real, man. Hey, enjoy France and enjoy your travels, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of your pictures, and I love your posts, man. And I'll be in touch for sure. I'll let you know when we're going to premiere this episode.
Awesome.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, Alex.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was great. I loved it.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon, bro. Thank you.